Hello. I see a couple of people. I think there's a couple of people, so I'm going to start going. Hey, everyone. And I see, okay, you're loading in now. Wasn't sure if this was even live yet. I'm trying something new tonight, and I'm not going to be able to read or respond to your comments, so I apologize. But I am going to take a drive right now, and I thought you guys would like to come along with me. Right now, I'm on Van Ness in Hollywood, and my for over 16 years is just up here inside the windows. But I'm going to take a drive with you, if you'd like to join me, to Cielo Drive. And we'll take the scenic route, actually, so I can show you some things on the way. There's something I'm just totally doing on a whim. Across the street, on the left, that's Raleigh Studios. On our right is Paramount Studios. We just passed where Western Costume was, where the famous costume providers for Hollywood films. Now, this is the famous Paramount Studios. I'm not going to pick up my camera because I barely got it teetering, but the Paramount Studios gates are about a block right. We're going to be passing the old offices to RKO Studios. You might be able to get a glimpse of the globe, the RKO globe at the top of the building. And it was used in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And tonight is the 55th anniversary of the Tate murders. And in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they demonstrated Brad Pitt. I'm going to let these people pass me, actually. If by chance this thing falls over, I've got to end this live stream because I'm not really set up for this. And so if it falls over, I'm just going to have to say we're done. And I apologize if that happens. But hopefully that's not going to happen. I'm just letting the traffic clear. So in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when Brad Pitt picked up Leonardo DiCaprio or Rick Dalton from the studio, it was actually this building coming up on our right. So that yellow car that Michael Madsen's car, I'm not a car person, so I can't tell you the make of the car, but that was right here where he picked him up. And they took off and passed all these posters on our right, which were old movie posters. Funny Girl and still here. Wowza wow. Okay. I might hold this frickin' thing, which I so didn't want to do, but it just makes more sense. Sorry about that. And for you guys that are tuning in, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be able to answer your questions because I can't read and drive. I should just ditch this. I really should just skip doing this now because it's already not working out the way I wanted to, but I'm just going to try to go with it again. So we're on Melrose Avenue and heading westbound. I just actually had a meal at the El Coyote restaurant. There's the LA Pet Clinic. If you get a chance, nicest people in the world. They're the ones that took care of Decker at the end. God bless them. Is this thing even? It looks like it's not even focused. I hope it is. No, it's funny because I had this thing all set up to go, and I'm not set up for this normally, but of course, I took off and it fell over right away. So, the first time I tried it. So, anyway, we're coming up to the intersection of Melrose and Highland. What I wanted to do is take you over past the New Beverly Cinema, Tarantino's theater, where it's showing currently Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then the El Coyote, and then the drive up to Cielo Drive. So if I don't make it, you guys, because again, it's the technical stuff that I'm so shitty at. Uh, bear with, bear with. Isn't this exciting? But when we get into the business district, I'll be able to point out a lot more interesting things on the way. I just did this totally on a whim. I probably should have waited till later on, till I got closer to it. But anyway, Beverly and Highland. So we just, interestingly, got some information today that I had this information for years, and I only just realized it today. Our old shop at 5901 Santa Monica Boulevard, used to be an auto shop, and then that was our dearly departed museum, and then we shut down. Well, on Sharon Tate's death certificate, Sharon Tate, after her body was autopsied, they brought her to the Cunningham and O'Connor Mortuary, which is 5959 Santa Monica Boulevard, about 50 yards from where my office has been, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. Okay, so on the right at the light, you'll see the New Beverly Cinema. This is Tarantino's theater. Currently on these screens right now is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There we are. And it's actually showed up in the movie. I tell the story a million times. You actually see the old Cielo Drive street sign that they used in the movie that's still in there. Now, coming up on our left is the El Coyote Mexican restaurant, and it is where Sharon Tate and the others, according to most published sources, had their last supper. It's always very colorful on a night like tonight, on the night tonight. And Sharon was feeling especially pregnant. Nice. All right, so now I'm going to continue on the way to Cielo Drive. So if they indeed ate their last meal at the El Coyote, this would have been their path home. Liberace used to own that building. In fact, that's the only Liberace address, the only one of his real houses that was used in the movie Behind the Candelabra. They actually used that, and Dan Aykroyd played Seymour Heller, who was Liberace's agent, and did a press conference in front of it. Coming up on our left, well, this is where the old Pan Pacific Auditorium used to be, and that's been demolished. That was the one that had that cool Art Deco sort of frontage. Up ahead on the left, just past the next light, is a building that was on Tupac Shakur's driver's license, the address. Because of her, as an idiot, because of Rebecca Schaefer's murder, you can now have your post office box put on your driver's license. So I don't think he lived there, but that building there on the left was Tupac Shakur's address on his driver's license. Also, Leslie Jordan lived there for a long, long time, but he had just moved out or just bought a new place. I don't think he even moved in yet when he passed away. And for you guys who are just joining, I can't respond to any comments, so I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. Just passing CBS Studios, where the Carol Burnett show was done, and they did All in the Family there for a while, and James Corden, that Bill Maher show, Price is Right, The Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful. Crossing over Fairfax, Jay's salon was about a mile to our right. So yeah, it's 9 o'clock on the night of August 8th, 2024. So they, according to, published sources, again, the Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, and Wojciech Frykowski had their last supper at the El Coyote. They checked in at 8. So they'd have been leaving probably in the vicinity of where we are now, because they usually serve pretty quickly there. Oh, we're just passing Sweetser, and that's where Rebecca Schaefer was murdered, about 4 houses down that street. But no side trips, right? No side trips. I can't do that. Can't do it. See how nice I was? Oh, you see that Chipotle up there? That's where Bardo, who killed Rebecca Schaefer, ate in between visits. He rang Rebecca Schaefer's doorbell, and she came down, signed an autograph for him, and he left. He went to have something to eat. It was called Jan's back then. Cheesecake and chocolate milk. Then he walked back to Rebecca Schaefer's home, rang the doorbell again. She came down and said, "Now you're wasting my time. Please leave me alone." And that's when he pulled the weapon out of his paper bag and said, "No." I think he says, "I forgot to give you this." That's the Beverly Center, the shopping center that's closest to Beverly Hills. Oh, thanks, Texas. I appreciate that. Stopped at the light so I could see this. I appreciate that. And for gas, man, you don't know. Seriously, thank you. Yeah, Rebecca Schaefer, unfortunately, her intercom didn't work, and that's why she came down. She was expecting a script, they say, for The Godfather 3, and that's why she entered the door. Now, coming up, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I used to be able to do it. Coming up on our left is Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where if you're rich and famous, it's the place to die. This hospital is so rich. There's a Barbara Streisand wing. There's a Steven Spielberg wing. There's a Johnny Cochran Brain Tumor Center. That I'm not kidding. George Burns Avenue intersects with Gracie Allen Street. It's a very rich hospital. And okay, let's see if I can do this. Gosh. Okay. Good to know. Minnie Riperton, Sammy Kahn, Audra Lindley, Gracie Allen, Lucille Ball, Fanny Bryce, River Phoenix, Marion Davies, Audrey Meadows, Avery Schreiber, Groucho Marx, Gilda Radner, David O. Selznick, Ava Gabor, Van Heflin, Bobby Darin, Cornell Wilde, Barry White, Jonathan Brandis, Easy E, Biggie Smalls, Charles Bronson, Peter Lawford, Danny Kaye, Andy Kaufman, Frank Sinatra, Martha Ray, Dominique Dunn, Dick Sargent, Isabel Sanford, Johnny Carson, Lou Rawls, Don Adams, Edward G. Robinson, Henry Fonda, Rebecca Schaefer, Ann Miller, Ron Carey, Tom Poston, Merv Griffin, Robert Goulet, David Gross, Sid Charisse, Mr. Blackwell, Elizabeth Taylor, Carrie Fisher, Sherwood Schwartz. Oh gosh, I did good. I'm actually really surprised I did all that. That used to be Jerry's Deli. Jerry's Deli, when Lucille Ball was in intensive care, they put a sign on the roof that said, "Get well, Lucy," and Lucy could see it from her room. I can't believe I remembered all those names. I'm impressed with myself. The Chasen's, the old Chasen's of Hollywood, Chasen's restaurant, famous for their chili, and Jimmy Stewart's bachelor party was held here. Now it's a supermarket, Bristol Farms, but they maintain a room from Chasen's within it, so you could still technically eat in Chasen's. Alfred Hitchcock. Who else used to go there a lot? But there was famous for their chili, and Jimmy Stewart's bachelor party. The Shirley Temple was invented there, and their famous dish was Steak Diane. They said it was convenient that it was just down the street from Cedars-Sinai. Dr. Laura's mother died down one of these streets on the left. She's the one that was dead for several weeks before they found her. Beverly Hills Mercedes-Benz dealership. Let's see, get in this lane. So I'm going to make this left. Now, if I continued forward over there, that's Palm Drive, and that's where Marilyn Monroe lived with Joe DiMaggio. Just about 4 houses in. I just can't do any side trips. And a couple of doors down from there was Jean Harlow's last home. She died at Good Samaritan Hospital. But Jean Harlow's last home, where also was Rita Hayworth's house when she split with Orson Welles. And Paul Lynde's, but his house is gone now. About 5 doors down on the left was where Paul Lynde's house was. You know, Black and Blue, it's funny, I own a Shirley Temple drink that Shirley Temple shooed away. She was doing a television shoot, and somebody thought it'd be cute to give Shirley Temple a Shirley Temple. She goes, "I'm not going to drink that. I'm going to get diabetes." So I have that glass that was waved away from someone who was there that day. So we're on Santa Monica Boulevard. Now, here's something that's interesting. The Winifred Chapman, Mrs. Chapman, the housekeeper who discovered the bodies the morning after the murders, Mrs. Chapman took the bus to work every day. And she would take the bus down Santa Monica Boulevard and be dropped off at a bus stop you're going to see in a second. Then she had someone come in and give her a lift there to Cielo Drive. So I think it was about 8 o'clock in the morning on the 9th of August that she would have got off the bus over here and then was dropped off. And I think it was 8:30 that the call to the police, that the police came in. And I did some looking. Of course, I'm a Leo, of course, because I attention. But my birthday is August 18th, and that's the birthday of Vincent Bugliosi. That's the birthday of Roman Polanski, and it's also the death date of Winifred Chapman. So Mrs. Chapman would have got off the bus, not at this corner. Now there's a Ringo Starr peace sign statue that he unveiled. So she got off the bus here, and there's the statue. And as you can see, we're entering Beverly Hills, where the streets are paved with gold. All the streets of Beverly Hills are four-way stops. And a lot of the streets, all the streets of Beverly Hills are lined by one particular tree all the way down. But the trees don't correspond with the names of, like, palms are not on palm, maples are not on maple. Oh, you see that house over there? That was Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner's house. I'll show you. I'll stop for a second. I can do this side trip because that's the house that Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner left when they went to Catalina Island, and she didn't return. Right. Yeah, I saw somebody mentioning traffic is good. Traffic is always nice, like after 9, and so yeah, it's kind of nice. It's funny driving through this area at nighttime because I'm usually, you know, as a tour guide, I used to do this every day during the daytime. So it's kind of disorienting. We just passed Harpo Marx's last house. It's disorienting because I can't really see the houses. I recognize by certain landmarks. This is a 6-way stop intersection. Yeah, usually it's just like punch it. Just hit the gas and go. Now, this park across the street on the right, Will Rogers Park, that used to be the front lawn of the Beverly Hills Hotel. You see that pathway in the middle of all the globes. If Sunset Boulevard, you can see it's up there. If Sunset Boulevard wasn't there, this was the front lawn of the hotel. But Sunset Boulevard cut the property in half. The hotel gave this land to the city with the stipulation that it remain a public park, and it does remain a public park. And this is also where George Michael was arrested for propositioning an undercover police officer. You could see maybe back there. That's the men's room right there. Now, I'm going to explain you a little something about the night of the murders. Tex Watson was behind the wheel of the 59 Ford, and they left Spawn Ranch to head to Cielo Drive. They'd been there before. They'd been to Terry Melcher's house. In fact, Manson had been there before as well, after Terry Melcher moved out. And he came face to face with Sharon Tate in March of 1969, 5 months before the murder. So one of the famous rumors about this is that Manson was after Terry Melcher. Is just not true, because Melcher didn't live in that house and Manson knew it. Anyway, they'd all been to that house. Tex Watson had been there before. He said, we knew that house. And Charlie said to go up to that house. And I'm not going to get into the who's who thing, because we know what happened, and that's really what matters. In front of us is Benedict Canyon Boulevard. It turns into Benedict Canyon right after that light as we cross over the intersection. Now, that Benedict Canyon goes all the way up to the top to Mulholland Drive, and then goes all the way down again to the San Fernando Valley. So on the night of the murders, Tex was actually coming towards us. He'd come over the hill, over Mulholland, and towards us. And he was supposed to turn right on Cielo Drive to get to Terry Melcher's old house. That's what it was. To go up to Terry Melcher's old house. They knew that Terry Melcher was not in that house, did not live there anymore. Tex missed the turn, came all the way down here to Sunset, and they turned around and went back up. So as we cross this intersection, this turns into Benedict Canyon Boulevard. Whoop, here we're going. We are now on Benedict Canyon Boulevard, and we are now on the path of the 59 Ford that Tex Watson was driving that night. Benedict Canyon. We just passed where Thomas Ince's house used to be. A mysterious death. Richard Dreyfuss was almost killed in a car accident into this row of palm trees on our right. Drug related, and they found a bunch of pills in his car. Up ahead on the corner on the left was Charo's house. She still lives there, and her husband unfortunately unalived himself in the alley behind the house a few years ago. That's Charo's house across the street over there. So many awful things have happened at Benedict Canyon. I got a guy like breathing down my neck, so I'm gonna let him go. So I can go peacefully on my own, at my own leisurely pace. Oh, look at that, nice lighting.